Su Bai travels through the world of comprehensive martial arts and can earn rewards by writing a diary. Opening exposes the fate of Jiang Yuyan and Little Dragon Girl. At first, the women immersed in fate. Jiang Yuyan. What? I became the Empress. And even killed Inviting Moon and Lianxing. Xiaolongnu. It's impossible. How could I be defiled by someone? Inviting Moon. A mere maid, also worthy of killing me. Inviting Moon. Su Bai, what are you talking nonsense about? Lianxing. What? Surprisingly, the transfer of flowers and trees is hidden in the Six Ren Divine Dice. Huang Rong. It's impossible. How could Rong'er take a liking to this foolish guy Guo Jing? Dongfang Bubai. My sect leader is a villain and was killed by Linghu Chong. Later, the women who began to pace backwards. Jiang Yuyan. They are so innocent, how can the young master say that Yan Er is a witch? Little Dragon Girl. Husband, how does it feel to be a dragon knight? Invitation month. Remember Su Bai. It's the lord of this palace who used you. Lianxing. Don't do this, young master Su. If your sister finds out, she will kill us. CluckHuang Rong. Brother Su is really greedy. Isn't having Rong'er enough? Dongfang Bubai. Su Bai, don't you want to try the cherries from Heimu Cliff? What, are you afraid? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001, Crossing Comprehensive Martial Arts, Opening Diary System. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Jiangnan, Zhongze He Mansion. At this moment, it was early spring and the sun was shining brightly. Jiang Yuyan, dressed in a simple long dress, was bending over to wash clothes. On the side, the other maids were all munching on melon seeds and gossiping. Only poor Jiang Yuyan's cheeks were as thin as yellow, but there was a hint of determination in her eyes. Humph, you offended madam and still want to work in the Jiang mansion. I really don't know how to die. Seeing Jiang Yuyan dragging her tired body into the room. The maids who were eating melon seeds couldn't help but sneer in their eyes. In the eyes of these maids, although they were all maids, Jiang Yuyan was undoubtedly inferior. Just because Jiang Yuyan offended madam. At this moment, as Jiang Yuyan walked into the room, she came to the rudimentary bed and casually touched it. And with this touch, Jiang Yuyan couldn't help but have a strange expression on her face. Because Jiang Yuyan touched a hard object. What is this? Jiang Yuyan had a strange expression and took out the hard book placed under the pillow. The next moment, the peach blossom eyes on Jiang Yuyan's stunning face couldn't help but furrow. The object in front of me was truly an exquisite and indescribable precious object. And on that precious item, there were even a few big characters prominently written. Su Bai's diary, Jiang Yuyan dungeon. Looking at the diary copy in her hand, Jiang Yuyan was confused. Diary? What diary? Su Bai. It sounds like a man's name. Man. Jiang Yuyan's round little face couldn't help but blush. However, in the girl's heart, there is more curiosity. Why does this Su Bai diary appear in my own room? Did someone intentionally release it? Want to frame yourself? Jiang Yuyan couldn't help but feel a hint of anger in her eyes. With this in mind, the girl's face instantly calmed down and she pushed the door out of the room. She wanted to ask those maids why they kept this Su Bai diary in her room. Who left this diary? If you don't admit it, I'll tell the master to go. Jiang Yuyan knew that the eldest lady would not help her, so she could only threaten with Jiang Biehe's words. At this moment, hearing Jiang Yuyan speak, the women were all shocked. Watching Jiang Yuyan raise her arms high, there was nothing on her white and jade-like hands. Jiang Yuyan, you're crazy. Where did you get your diary? I think you owe me smoking, you want to be punished by madam. A clearly arrogant and domineering maid raised her eyebrows and sneered. This maid's name is Xiao Taohong, and she has never dealt with Jiang Yuyan before. She often bullies this pitiful girl in her daily life. What? No diary. How could this be? Reminded by Xiao Taohong, coupled with the strange gazes of the other women, Jiang Yuyan finally realized. The diary she held in her hand had disappeared at some point. Jiang Yuyan frowned and walked into the room again in silence. From afar, one can hear the laughter of the maids. In this Jiang family mansion, Jiang Yuyan is the seasoning for these people's miserable lives. Ignoring the laughter of those people, Jiang Yuyan returned to her room. Looking at the exquisite diary in my hand, it suddenly reappeared. The girl's expression became even more peculiar and curious. Sure enough. As she guessed. This diary can only be seen by oneself, not by the maids outside the door. These supernatural events made Jiang Yuyan even more curious in her heart. Originally, Jiang Yuyan thought that the appearance of this diary was a prank on her by those maids. But now, Jiang Yuyan is puzzled. Those people can't even see the copy of the diary. How could they possibly have caused it? But how did this diary copy appear in this way? Is there no other way to solve the confusion besides flipping through the diary copy? Although it's not good to sneak a peek at someone else's diary, I just take a glance and shouldn't be caught, right? With this in mind, Jiang Yuyan's eyes lit up slightly, and her fair jade hand lightly picked it up, starting to flip through the diary copy. I've really traveled, although traveling is a very fresh thing, I still hold on to it. Can you let me use 1 million original stones in the Genshin Impact game of mobile phone first when you step on the horse? I have suffered a great loss crossing. What kind of ghost is this? Also, Genshin Impact, what is it? Just as Jiang Yuyan was puzzled, a stream of information automatically came to her mind. And soon, Jiang Yuyan understood what it meant to pass through Genshin Impact. I didn't expect that this world really has time to travel. However, this Su Bai is quite interesting. Jiang Yuyan was slightly surprised and continued to flip through with a hint of curiosity. After traveling for 3 days, I finally found out that this is a world of comprehensive martial arts, and soon, I learned that this world was composed of over 100 dynasties of all sizes. There are also 6 ancient kingdoms, including the Great Qin, Great Han, Great Song, Great Yuan, Great Ming, and Liang dynasties, and each ancient country inside is a powerful and first-class existence of the comprehensive martial continent. In this land of comprehensive martial arts, the realm of warriors is also divided into third-rate, second-rate, first-class, innate, master, great master, heavenly and human, and land immortals. It is said that among the 6 ancient kingdoms, there are countless innate strong ones, and there are also many masters who are strong. Although great masters are rare, there are also more than 10, and as for the top ones, I cannot inquire about them. As for myself, I traveled to a small town in Jiangnan, where my parents died and I was an orphan at the beginning according to my original memory. Just a few days later, it seemed like I had to attend an interview at an escort agency. As for which escort agency it is, I am not quite sure at the moment, but let it be as it is. No matter which world you are in, you must have a job to support yourself. At first, I thought it was just an ordinary ancient world until that day, I saw Jiang Yuyan's female demon head on the street. I just realized that this world is not simple. Upon seeing this, Jiang Yuyan's round little face suddenly froze. Female demon head. Are you talking about yourself? Jiang Yuyan was stunned. But even though she is just a little maid, how could she be a female demon head? Fake. This must be fake, right? I got the wrong person. It's very likely, it's just the same name and surname. A touch of comfort appeared on Jiang Yuyan's stunning cheeks. Quickly, she persevered and continued to watch. She wants to see how this one called Su Bai continues to weave. What? Why do you know that the other person is Jiang Yuyan? Because of that face, with the same face as in the original book, originally, I was a bit skeptical, maybe I made a mistake, but later on, I quietly followed the other party. When I saw that delicate body walking towards a mansion called the Jiang family, I completely understand, obviously, that girl will be the female demon head who will do all sorts of evil in the future. It's also Jiang Beihe's illegitimate daughter. Jiang Yuyan is indeed. Boom. The girl wearing a warm goose yellow dress felt like a lightning strike hitting the celestial cover at that moment. What? How could this be? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 002, Huang Rong has broken the defense. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Jiang Yuyan has been in Jiangfu for many years, apart from Jiang Biehe and herself, no one else knows about their relationship with Jiang Biehe. No one knows that they are the illegitimate daughter of Jiang Biehe. But now, this person named Su Bai actually points out this fact in one sentence. Jiang Yuyan couldn't have been shocked. Is everything this person says true? Will you really become the female demon in the other person's mouth in the future? But I am just a kind and weak little girl, right? Jiang Yuyan frowned and continued to watch with a hint of suspicion. I was a bit scared, feeling scared for several days. Of course, it's not the kind of shock you imagine, but just this morning, my cheat finally arrived. It is a diary system. As long as you write a diary, you can receive rewards. So, with a probing mood, I began writing this first diary, but it takes 3,000 words to do it. Hi, there's nothing I can do, then I can only do it with water. Who made me only score 80 in Chinese and fail the college entrance examination since there is Jiang Yuyan. It is still a world of comprehensive martial arts in this world, it should always include the world of divine eagles and knights. I don't know how little dragon girl is doing now. Have you ever been defiled by Yin Jiping from the Chuanjian sect, and the world of archery should also be there, right? I don't know if Huang Rong has met that silly guy Guo Jing. My Rong'er, please don't become Mrs. Guo. Otherwise, brother, I would be very sad. Okay, and Dongfang Bubai, Dongfang sect leader, are you there? Just a reminder, don't entangle yourself with a kid from the Huashan sect named Linghu Chong, otherwise you will die a miserable death. Unfortunately, this world is too dangerous, and I don't know martial arts yet. I can only hide at home for a few days. After finishing writing my diary and receiving the rewards from the system, I can go out and pretend to be forced. If only I could meet some top-notch beauties from the world of martial arts. I'm not greedy either. Rong'er, Jiang Yuyan, Wang Yuyan, Dongfang Bubai, Inviting the Moon, Lianxing. Especially the sisters who invite the moon and pity the stars, inviting the moon with arrogance and indifference, while Lianxing needs to be much gentler. If two people can sleep together for my young master, that should be very enjoyable, right? Ha ha ha, I'm in good health. Don't worry about me not being able to handle it, okay? At the same time, all owners of diary copies around the world exploded instantly, each with their own reactions. Peach Blossom Island, by the lake. Looking at the content in the diary, a hint of surprise flashed across the delicate cheeks of the young girl Huang Rong. Originally, for this sudden appearance of the diary, Huang Rong didn't take it to heart, just planned to pass the time as boredom. But looking at it, Huang Rong felt something was wrong. Surprisingly, I was mentioned in my diary. The world of archery. Is it possible that she is the female protagonist of that world? Huang Rong was talented and intelligent, and she guessed the truth at once. However, Guo Jing. Who is this again? According to the diary owner, it seems like a silly kid. But, Huang Rong, who is impressive, will marry a silly kid. How could this be possible? You know, Huang Rong hates foolishness the most. She doesn't believe what the owner of this diary said. However, Huang Rong knew that he couldn't just rely on speculation to beat the person to death with one stick. Wait and see again. This Su Bai, if he dares to deceive this girl, I'll have my dad catch him back. Trapped in Peach Blossom Island, accompany me to feed the fish. Thinking of this, on Huang Rong's round little face, she couldn't help but raise the corners of her mouth slightly, revealing a pure smile. It looks amazing. Zhongnan Mountain is a tomb of the living dead. A little dragon girl with a head of black hair and a snow-white body, looking at the diary copy in her hand, frowned slightly. Injiping. Does it sound like the name of a Chuanjian Taoist? But what does it have to do with oneself? Also, this stain. What does it mean again? Xiaolongnu is only in her 20s and 80s at this time, and she doesn't quite understand the stains in her diary. So she waved her hand and called out an old woman, a humanitarian. Grandma's son, come here and I'll ask you something. The first time Grandma's son heard the girl call out to her, she walked over trembling and said, Mississippi. The elderly woman was also curious. What would happen if the girl came to find her? Probably, maybe it's about practicing martial arts. After all, in Grandma's son's eyes, a young girl has always been a very pure girl. At this moment, in Grandma's son's surprised eyes, little dragon girl curiously blinked her eyes and said coldly. Grandma's son, do you know what defilement means? Upon hearing this, Grandma's son's pupils suddenly shrank and became strange. Miss, why do you ask? This. Obviously, Grandma's son is a bit hesitant to speak up. But the pure girl seemed to have noticed nothing and just said coldly. I'll tell you what to say, I won't blame you. In Xiaolongnu's opinion, Grandma's son is too sentimental. What cannot be said in front of her? She is a little dragon girl who never regrets doing things. However, the next moment, when the grandmother.in.law explained the meaning of defilement to little dragon girl. On Xiaolongnu's originally calm cheeks, a hint of red light suddenly flashed, making her blush. What? To defile. That's what it means. Xiaolongnu's face was extremely shy, and she regretted it a bit. Regretting why I asked my grandmother.in.law this question. How would grandmothers view themselves? But in the next moment, little dragon goddess's emotions instantly became angry. According to the diary owner, will I be defiled by Yin Jiping? If little dragon girl doesn't know this is okay. But now that we know, whether what the owner of this diary said is true or false. I have to go and verify it myself. Thinking of this, Xiaolongnu's stunning face turned cold with her eyes. A cold voice came from her mouth. Grandma's son, come here, I have something to entrust you with. She wants Grandma's son to investigate whether there is a Taoist named Yin Jiping in the Chuanjian sect. If there is, it means that what the diary owner said is highly likely to be true. And if it were then, she would naturally take precautions earlier. Tell that Yin Jiping looks good. Blackwood Cliff, Back Mountain. Standing on the mountaintop in a red robe, graceful and charming. There are dozens of sun and moon divine guards around, all with revered eyes, looking at the cold red clothes. Because that person is their cult leader, Asia the Invincible. However, at this moment, Dongfang Bubai has a pair of cold eyes, fixed on an exquisite Japanese dungeon. Filled with a hint of astonishment. Huashan School. Linghu Chong. The five sacred sect and the sun-moon divine sect are mortal enemies, and this is well known in the martial arts world. But the owner of this diary said, will he die under a man named Linghu Chong? Is Linghu Chong a hidden elder of the Huashan sect? Someone, please check with our sect leader. Is there a person named Linghu Chong in the Huashan sect? Our main focus is on this person's complete information. The cold and piercing voice of Dongfang Bubai was heard. Soon, a figure in black armor flew out to explore the news. These people are all guards personally trained by Dongfang Bubai, very strong and loyal. My gaze continued to scrutinize the diary copy. Dongfang Bubai's cold and piercing eyes suddenly flashed with a hint of smile, shaking his head and saying. This Su Bai is quite interesting. It's just a pity, it's too flowery. This is not good. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 003, The Reaction of Inviting Moon and Lianxing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the diary, this Su Bai mentioned many women. Obviously, it is necessary to include these women in the harem. And among this list, there is Dongfang Bubai himself. However, as the leader of the Sun-Moon Divine sect, Dongfang Bubai is so arrogant. How could she be willing to serve her husband together? In her opinion, this Su Bai is simply daydreaming, don't even think about it. Embroidered Jade Valley, Moving Flower Palace. Inviting You Dai frowned slightly and casually threw out the diary copy in her hand. In the eyes of Inviting Moon, this broken diary is just playing tricks and pretending to be a ghost. A woman's true ability is to rely on her own strength and strength. However, in the next moment, the diary copy that was shattered with the palm of the invited moon. Surprisingly, it appeared again in an instant. And surprisingly, it was completely unscathed. This shocked the invitation month. Humph, pretending to be a god or a ghost, the lord of this palace doesn't believe he can't break you. Inviting the moon to make another move, this time with the luck of the 8-layer Mingyu skill, the palm was raised and a palm was clapped. And the palm power of this palm is even more than 10 times that of the previous palm. However, what shocked Inviting Moon was that this diary copy remained motionless. It seems even more sturdy than before. Impossible. Inviting Moon was furious, her beautiful eyes couldn't help but stare at the diary copy, full of surprise. At this moment, a gentle and beautiful figure walked over, not just Lianxing, but also Ning. Sister, don't try, this diary copy won't break. Lianxing wore a gentle smile on her face and smiled at the invitation moon. Inviting the moon frowned and said arrogantly, do you also have this diary copy? Originally, Inviting Moon thought that only she had this diary copy. But now I realize that Lianxing also has it. Although Lianxing is her own younger sister, it also makes Xiao Yuyan quite unhappy. In the eyes of Inviting Moon, there are only things in the world that she can have. If others also have it, what's the use of her coming? Lianxing seemed to notice her sister's displeasure and shifted the topic to say. Sister, have you read the contents of this diary? A cold voice came from the stunning face of Inviting the Moon. Not yet. In the eyes of Inviting Moon, what nutrients does a broken diary have? There's nothing to look at. However, the next moment. On the stunning face of Inviting the Moon, I couldn't help but be surprised. Listening only to Lianxing's smiling eyes, with a smile on her face, she looked at the invitation moon and said. Oh. But in the diary copy, it mentioned sister. Sister, you really don't want to take a look. Upon hearing this, Inviting Moon's beautiful eyes moved, but her face still wore a cold expression as she said. It's not that you begged me, Lianxing. I definitely wouldn't watch it. After speaking, Inviting Moon picked up Su Bai's diary and started watching the Inviting Moon dungeon. At the same time, I watched my sister's increasingly furrowed brows. Lianxing also slightly lifted the corner of his mouth, revealing a curve. Because Lianxing knew that in the diary copy, not only did she mention her sister. There is also oneself. Although that person's speech is very rebellious. But when I heard the other person say my sister is cold, I said I am gentle. I always feel that I can't compare to my sister's pitiful star, in a moment, but it couldn't help but add a hint of joy to my heart. I don't know if it's because of the praise from the diary owner. Still. Because of myself, I surpassed my sister for the first time in my life. Jiangnan, Jiangbei He Mansion. Jiang Yuyan tightly clenched her thin and weak fists, and couldn't help blushing from the vulgar language in her diary. She spat out. I'm sorry. The owner of this diary is really not a good thing, and he even wants to take advantage of himself. And, with all that, can he do it alone? Most of the people in this diary copy are unfamiliar to Jiang Yuyan. After all, she is just a little maid of the Zhong family. Where do you know so many Jianghu people? But there were also a few, but even the little maid Jiang Yuyan had vaguely heard of them. For example, the Inviting Moon Palace Master and the Compassionate Star Palace Master of the Moving Flower Palace. And the Eastern Invincible of the Sun and Moon Cult. These are all prominent figures. But this Su Bai, in her diary, even compares herself to these big shots like them. Anyway, such praise also makes this not yet blackened out. Even some girls with low self-esteem are undoubtedly extremely happy. But why did he become a witch? He hasn't said yet. I don't know if it's true. Thinking of this, Jiang Yuyan blinked her beautiful eyes and continued to scroll down. I don't know if there are 3,000 words, forget it, let's continue with some more water. After all, just like women, having more is not a disadvantage, right? The first mention of Jiang Yuyan just now may not be known to all wives. Jiang Yuyan is amazing, especially Lianxing and Inviting Moon. If you don't look good, you will die at the hands of my wife Jiang Yuyan. Don't blame my husband. I won't help you, ha ha ha. Actually Jiang Yuyan herself is just a poor woman. She is clearly the biological daughter of the Jiangnan hero Jiang Biehe, but due to her illegitimate status, she can only be raised by Jiang Biehe as a maid in the mansion. I have also suffered from humiliation on weekdays. What's even more frustrating is that I met the heartless man Hua Wuqi, teasing others but not taking responsibility. But who knew Jiang Yuyan was a romantic brain? Hua Wuq, you know, the young master of the flower-moving palace, handsome and skilled in martial arts. How many girls like it? Is Tai Xin Lan there? Speaking of you, after teasing Jiang Yuyan, Hua Wuq also flirted with Tai Xin Lan originally. Tai Xin Lan liked Xiao Yu'er, and Xiao Yu'er must know who it was when inviting the moon. I won't say much more, ladies and gentlemen, as long as you know, Xiao Yu'er and Hua Wuq are biological brothers. As a result, Hua Wuq not only took no responsibility for Jiang Yuyan, but also snatched the beloved of his own brother Xiao Yu'er, and everything starts with Hua Wuqi falling in love with Tai Xin Lan. Anyway, from here on, Jiang Yuyan began to blacken out. The journey of the first Empress Jiang Yuyan officially begins. When I say this, my wives must be dissatisfied. How capable Jiang Yuyan can be as a small maid, returning Empress. I'm sorry, ha ha ha, I just like the faces of your wives. A kiss should be very fragrant, right? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, especially the wives of Inviting Moon, Lianxing, and Tai Xin Lan, you should really want to know who killed you in the end, right? Also, Jiang Yuyan's wife, you really want to know how you became the Empress of the generation. Let's completely embark on the path of blackening. Alright, then I won't hang on to your appetite, young master. This concludes today's diary, because this young master is about to start preparing for the rewards. Come on, system, hit the reward on my young master's face, smash more. I'm not afraid of it. The diary ends here, but the women who see it here are still unsatisfied. I feel unbearable itching in my heart. It's like watching a drama when it's exciting. Suddenly, there was a halftime break. Make people want to hit someone. Of course, there are also some women who disdain the title of Su Bai's wife. I think if this Su Bai dares to appear in front of me, sooner or later he will be slapped to death. At the same time. At the moment when the diary ends. In a simple small room. A peerless and beautiful man dressed in white, with a jade-like face and a handsome and boundless appearance, surpassing Panin. But suddenly he put down the brush in his hand and looked at nothingness with a smile on his face, excitedly saying, "System, the diary is finished. What about the reward for this young master?" Accompanied by the young man's words, a mechanical sound suddenly rang out in his mind. Ding! Detected host completing first diary. Reward beginners with a big gift pack. The newbie gift package has been received, please check it by the host. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 004, Dugu's 9 swords are powerful. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And at this moment, listening to the mechanical prompt sound of the system, the boy couldn't help but brighten his eyes and excitedly say, "Is this here? Good system, you are truly not deceiving me. System, open the beginner's gift package." Su Bai's eyes lit up and she directly instructed the system. At the same time, a mechanical sound rang out from Su Bai's ear. Ding! The beginner gift pack is open. Congratulations to the host for completing the diary. Reward the internal mental technique of the I Jing. Reward 10 years of pure internal power. Reward the host Dugu Jiujian's first 3 moves. General technique, breaking sword, and breaking blade. The next moment, a clear aura suddenly penetrated into Su Bai's eyebrows. 1 day after tomorrow. Twice the day after tomorrow. 3 times the day after tomorrow. 6 times the day after tomorrow. The breath on Su Bai's body continued to climb until it reached the 6th level of the day after tomorrow and finally came to a standstill. At the same time, Su Bai only felt clear in her mind, and her whole body underwent earth-shattering changes. Originally, Su Bai was just a thin and weak young man. But at this moment, the muscles all over the body bulge up, like a robust teenager who has been exercising for over a decade. Not only that. Su Bai's eyes suddenly opened, with a faint light flowing through them. The broken sword and broken knife moves of Dugu Jiujian instantly come to mind. It seems like in my mind, there is a little person practicing swordsmanship and swordsmanship. Shoo! Su Bai casually took out a wooden fan from the table. 1 thrust. The next moment, sword lights dance in the entire room. The wooden door, which was 10 centimeters thick, was actually directly penetrated by the sword light. With a casual strike, it has such power. Su Bai was shocked. What kind of power would it have if I had learned all of Dugu's 9 swords? You should know, in the world of Xiao Jianghu, Linghu Chong was originally a useless person, because after learning this Dugu 9 swords, it just flew into the sky, becoming one of the few masters in the world who are proud and proud. But now, I also have Dugu Jiujian. Moreover, it can be obtained simply by writing a diary. There is no need to rely on self-cultivation like Linghu Chong. It is easy to complete Dugu Jiujian. It's much more refreshing than Linghu Chong. Moreover, the foundational technique is still a divine skill like the I Jing. You should know that the I Jing is the treasure of Shaolin. At first, Zhuang Juxian was just a casual person, picked up the I Jing that Xiao Feng didn't want. You can fight against the old monsters of the starry constellations. And now, with this way of eating and drinking, a divine skill that can increase internal strength, isn't it 1,000 miles in a day, rapid progress? I just don't know, with my strength now, how many high-level masters can I be considered in this martial arts world? Su Bai's gaze sank slightly, and suddenly murmured. According to Su Bai's estimation, he can at least be considered a third-rate expert, right? I just don't know what the result is when I fight against that second-rate expert. You should know that this martial art is divided into acquired and innate. The postnatal realm is further divided into 12 levels. Every triple represents a great realm, corresponding to non-inflow, 1.3 times, third flow, 4.6 times, second flow, 7.9 times, first class, 10.12 times. The strength of Su Bai in the 6 levels of the day after tomorrow, it clearly corresponds to the level of a third-rate expert. But this Dugu Jiujian is the most powerful swordsmanship, created by the sword demon Dugu Qiuxiu. Extremely powerful. Perhaps, with my current strength, even a second-rate expert can fight. Upon hearing this, Su Bai's gaze flickered, if I remember correctly. A few days ago, how many thugs came to ask for money from him? Mad, I just crossed over and couldn't bear to learn martial arts anymore. Now. It's time to seek revenge. Jiangnan, Yanlu Lane. This is the largest land of willows in the entire Jiangnan region. As soon as Su Bai stepped into this place, immediately, several seductive and charming women welcomed them. It can be seen that. Grandpa, come on, come and play. Among the young masters, there are dragons and phoenixes, charming, making my concubine's body water with pleasure. Little handsome guy, are you playing? We don't charge for it. A few slightly coquettish women surrounded Su Bai. The plump figure made Su Bai feel suffocated. Fortunately, passing through the crowd, Su Bai finally arrived at an elegant courtyard. This is where those thugs are located. They are usually raised as thugs. As soon as I receive my salary, I enjoy coming to this courtyard to enjoy it. But today, Su Bai won't give them time to enjoy. In the other courtyard, several fierce heroes, surrounding a skinny yet turbulent middle-aged woman, a lewd expression appeared on the face. The fierce man at the top had a long scar on his face. A fierce expression on his face. In the eyes of the scarred man, although this woman doesn't look very good. But she burned it. Reluctantly used for unloading, it's enough. A few people were about to take off their clothes and take turns to fight. A thin man with sharp-tongued monkey cheeks suddenly flattered and looked at the scared man, saying, "Big brother, you take the most care of your brothers on weekdays. Why don't you come first this time?" When the skinny man said this, everyone smiled knowingly. "Look like you understand." The scar man glanced at the skinny monkey in surprise, just about to say something. At this point, with a hiss, a sword light flashed by, and the thin monkey with a smile on its face just like this pit falling to the ground. The skinny monkey still had a smile on its lips, but its face was already covered in blood. Obviously, he has already passed away. Big brother. Everyone looked at Scar Man with frightened eyes. The Scar Man was also stunned by this sudden change. However, it's not yet time for everyone to react. In the next moment, several sword lights flashed by again. All the big men, except for Scar Man, fell to the ground one after another. Every time someone falls to the ground, the Scar Man's eyes cannot help but show a hint of fear. At this moment, Scar Man was completely dumbfounded. But he has not yet lost his sanity. Startled, he picked up his knife and slashed towards the door. This sword breaks through the wind in the air and has tremendous power. As a martial artist of the four heavens, a top-notch third-rate expert. Scar Man doesn't believe it, he can't even kill this person. Shoo. However, the next moment, a bloodstain flashed through the scarred man's neck. The scarred man's head falls to the ground, the pupils of his eyes were horrified to see, in front of him, there is a headless corpse. Don't kill me. I don't have any money, someone, please feel free, sir. At this moment, the middle-aged woman's gaze had already become dull, frightened and dumbfounded. But she's not too foolish yet. Half-naked body curled up in the corner, turn your back so that you can't see what's happening next. Su Bai sneered and didn't go to see the woman. On those big men, I quickly touched them and then turned around and left. And after Su Bai left, a long time passed. After hearing that there was finally no movement, only then did the middle-aged woman dare, trembling as she turned her delicate body. Under the woman's body, tears were already streaming down her face, rainwater stains. At the same time, Su Bai turned around the corner and changed into a new outfit. I just walked out of the Yanlu lane again. However, his face clearly changed. Obviously, it was easy to tolerate when I arrived. And this time, when Su Bai saw those warblers, swallows, and swallows again. He showed a greedy expression on his face, and restless hand. I even touched several times on that plump figure. Then Su Bai's face changed and she walked coldly out of the Yanlu lane. Although it was the first time killing someone, Su Bai's heart was completely calm. Except for the back, it is slightly moist. After returning home, Su Bai took off her coarse white clothes. Take out the cloth bags that were touched from those big men. Apart from the scattered 10 taels of silver, there is also a cultivation method. And that cultivation method is not a serious one either, a dragon claw skill. Grab the peak dragon grab. Is there anything you like to watch? Looking for flowers and data, I heard that all the readers and gentlemen are very handsome, charming and handsome. In terms of appearance, stepping on Kunkan, punching Xiao Zhan, is it you who are the most handsome in the world? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 005, Asia the Invincible. Come, go and conquer Linghu Chong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But this dragon gripper is of no great use to Su Bai. Therefore, Su Bai just glanced lightly and then threw it aside. Immediately, he fell into a deep sleep. At the same time, the murder case in the Yanlu area quickly caught the attention of the government. And that other courtyard was also sealed by the government and became a forbidden area. But just after being sealed off in another courtyard, a slightly sleazy young figure suddenly leaped and flew, rush into another courtyard. TSK, how could you find such a place to live? This place may be dangerous for others, but for me, Tian Buguang. Isn't it just right? Come on, it's Tian Buguang who travels thousands of miles alone. This person's strength is decent, with 12 levels of realm the day after tomorrow. Belongs to the top-notch experts in the martial arts world. But with exceptional lightness skills, even ordinary innate experts have no way to deal with it. As a flower-picking thief, what can Tian Buguang do when he comes here? Isn't that obvious yet? Inside the room, Tian Buguang's cold laughter could be heard. He is going to take a nap first, then, go pick flowers again. The next day, when Su Bai woke up, her whole body had a clear and bright color. Suddenly, it surged from my mind. Su Bai was taken aback for a moment. Only then did I realize that my entire body, I don't know when, but surprisingly, many dirt and debris were eliminated. Obviously, this is the benefit of practicing martial arts. Not to mention strengthening the body and keeping fit, it can also greatly improve the overall temperament of a person. I can only see that, a boy who used to have a hunchback, at this moment, her skin was as white as jade, her facial features were sharp and angular, and her sword eyebrows were starry. He is a handsome young man. Based on my appearance, even on the rouge list, can I still be considered good? Su Bai only received hearsay yesterday. In this martial arts world, not only does it have rankings for dividing combat power, but it also has rankings for people, places, and sky. There is also a rouge chart that gathers beautiful men and women from all over the world. The people on the list are all outstanding in appearance, belonging to the dragon and phoenix among the people. Looking at the handsome features in the mirror, Su Bai is very confident, on that rouge list, there will definitely be his place. As for the list of people who arrange innate warriors, and the land list of master warriors, and even higher on the sky chart, Su Bai felt that they were all too far away from her. That person's list, perhaps write a few more diaries, can we save enough strength to make it onto the list? Upon hearing this, Su Bai's eyes lit up and she took out her brush directly. Start writing today's diary. At the same time, in the world of comprehensive martial arts, investigations by women have also yielded results one after another. Zhongnan Mountain is a tomb of the living dead. What? Surprisingly, there really is a stinky Taoist named Yin Jiping. Little dragon girl's beautiful eyes were startled, a pair of beautiful eyes, at this moment, I couldn't help but furrow slightly. Unexpectedly, what the owner of that diary said was true. This shocked little dragon girl and her heart trembled greatly. And as soon as I thought about what the diary owner said, in the future it is very likely that the stinky Taoist Yin Jiping will be stained. On Xiaolongnu's stunning face, a hint of anger couldn't help but flash. The stinky Taoist of Chuanjin sect, if you really dare to show me all the pictures, then I have no choice but to kill you. On the side. Listening to her own young lady's lively chatter, Grandma's son looked surprised. I completely understand what the lady is saying. What killed him? Miss, who are you going to kill? Are you a stinky Taoist of the Chuanjin sect? If it were a stinky Taoist of the Chuanjin sect, that old man, immediately go kill the other person. Obviously, including the ancient tombs sect where little dragon girl and grandmother are present, they all have a lot of dissatisfaction with this Chuanjin religion. Peach Blossom Island. A beautiful figure stood by the lake in a daze. It's not that pretty Huang Rong, but someone else. However, a happy girl who should have a lively nature, at this moment, a strand of sadness swept over her beautiful eyes and she said. The owner of this stinky diary, I've been waiting for you to update your diary all day, do you know? Hurry up and give it to this girl. Get out and update your diary. The girl's beautiful eyes glared angrily, with a fierce feeling of wanting to eat people. But unfortunately, the girl has a sweet and beautiful appearance. Under this angry glare, not only was there no trace of malice. On the contrary, it looks more playful and cute. Unfortunately, but no one appreciates it. For the young girl Huang Rong, since having this diary, her mundane life has become more interesting. The girl who was originally planning to go out to sea, as a result, the plan has been temporarily suspended. I plan to wait and see first. There are 100 ways for a girl to judge the authenticity of a diary. But in the eyes of the girl, authenticity is not important, solving her boredom, that's the most important thing. But unfortunately, the diary owner is also too lazy. I haven't updated my diary yet. The girl was so angry that her two little tiger teeth were slightly exposed, clucking loudly. However, just as the girl was stunned and angry, she gritted her teeth. At the next moment, a bright light suddenly flashed in my own day and dungeon. Seeing this, the girl's beautiful eyes lit up, and there was also a brilliant sparkle in her agile eyes. What is this? Has the diary been updated? The girl couldn't wait and took out a copy of her diary to start watching. Blackwood Cliff. Standing on the mountaintop in a red robe, cold and proud yet aloof. It is Asia the Invincible. But at this moment, the Eastern sect leader, with his narrow eyebrows and eyes, couldn't help but flash a hint of surprise. What? Surprisingly, there really is a young man named Linghu Chong. Originally, Dongfang Bubai did not take what the diary owner said to heart. But now, Dongfang Bubai is confused. According to the scout, the Huashan sect not only has a young man named Linghu Chong. Moreover, he is also the eldest disciple of Yubuchuan. Among the disciples of Mount Hua, there are also various high authority. Although my status as a mere disciple, for Asia the Invincible, it's just pediatrics, not worth mentioning. But are these important things? Importantly, she is very suspicious now, the diary owner Su Bai. The content recorded in the diary, it's very likely that it's all true. If that's the case, so the owner of this diary is worth taking seriously. After all, if we can find the diary owner, forcing him to speak out about the future, isn't he invincible? I don't know what the outcome of our sect leader will be in the future. Listening to the diary owner's words, it seems like. Isn't it very good? And, very likely, it's related to this person named Linghu Chong. Thinking of this, a hint of coldness suddenly appeared on the body of Shi Hongyi, saying, "Someone, send the people from the Wind and Thunder Hall to kill Linghu Chong for the leader of our sect." Regardless of whether what the owner of this diary says is true or false. She is invincible in the East, and no one is allowed, threatening one's own safety. At the same time, the presence of Linghu Chong. It also made Dongfang Bubai more concerned about the content of this diary. Finally, a long time has passed. Dongfang Bubai's beautiful eyes suddenly lit up and she exclaimed in surprise. Updated. The next moment, a slender jade finger reached out and took out the diary copy. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 006, second diary update. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiang family. Jiang Yuyan arrived at the Chaifang. I want to see if my diary has been updated. Result. There is still no update. Jiang Yuyan couldn't help but be greatly disappointed. The diary owner said she will become the Empress in the future. Is it really true or not? Jiang Yuyan couldn't help feeling a bit depressed. It would be great if the diary owner could update it now. Suddenly, a bright light flashed by. Jiang Yuyan's beautiful eyes suddenly flashed with a brilliant light. She knows that this is a reminder for updating diary content. Soon, Jiang Yuyan took out her diary and read it with a hint of anticipation. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, although I don't know how many wives can see it, young master, anyway, everything you can see is assumed to be your wife. Okay, guess what reward I received after writing my diary yesterday, young master, you won't be able to guess. Hee, can't you imagine it? My young master didn't know martial arts yesterday. Today, he has already become a third-rate expert. I don't know what kind of realm you wives are in now. My young master guesses that there must be a wife who won't be satisfied and wants to boast about something. What kind of expert is a mere third-rate martial artist? Hey, those who have this kind of idea will automatically come forward. I won't spank you guys in the future, let you know my strength. Seeing this, all the women were stunned. Do you think the owner of this diary is too narcissistic? Is it easy to call someone a wife? It's too lacking in sense of propriety. Only a small number of people neither dislike nor like it, maintain a neutral attitude towards the diary owner's habit of calling someone else's wife. Peach Blossom Island. Huang Rong's face turned red and she spat out. The owner of this diary is really shameless. If we meet in reality, I will have to beat you to death with my little fist. Just as Huang Rong spoke, her voice gradually became quieter. Huang Yaoshi suddenly appeared behind the girl and said strangely. Rong'er, why are you giggling alone here? Huang Rong's pretty face froze and she spat out her tongue, mischievously saying. Dad, Rong'er won't tell you. After speaking, the girl turned around and went to another place to read her diary. Only Huang Yaoshi's bewildered expression remained. Rong'er, what's wrong with this girl? Suddenly, Huang Yaoshi's eyes froze. He suddenly realized that the girl looked like this. It's a bit like, is it difficult? Is Rong'er really in love? On Huang Yaoshi's dark and yellow old face, a hint of worry flashed. No, I have to look at Rong'er a bit and not let this girl be fooled by any silly kid. A tomb of the living dead. Little dragon girl's eyebrows furrowed slightly. Why is the owner of this diary different from others? Grandma's son seems to have said that women should be reserved and not casually address men's husbands. Is it difficult? Is this normal for men? Little dragon girl's eyes flashed with curiosity. No way. When Grandma's son arrives, she needs to ask her mother.in.law. If someone calls themselves a wife, how should I handle it myself? Can you call me back with my husband? And the more I thought about it, on the fairy-like cheeks of little dragon girl, the more a hint of sadness arose. For people like Xiaolongnu, they are worldly wise. It's really too difficult. Embroidered Jade Valley, Moving Flower Palace. Lianxing's beautiful eyes smiled as she looked at the invitation moon and said. Sister, this young Master Su is calling his sister's wife, he. Upon hearing this, the invitation moon, covered in a cold color, suddenly patted the table. In the next moment, the stone table turned into powder. As if it had never appeared before. Undoubtedly, he is the lord of the flower-moving palace and a prominent figure on the heavenly list. A casual strike has such power. At this point, inviting the moon to look at the void that has turned into powder, with a hint of mockery at the corner of his mouth, he said coldly. It depends on the diary owner's courage. I want to be the man who invites her to the moon, at least he must be a celestial being. Moreover, he must also be a famous celestial figure on the rouge list. After all, no one in this world knows that inviting the moon is a beauty control. High martial arts skills. High appearance. Finally, she still needs to invite the moon to take a liking to it. And now, the diary owner is nothing but a third-rate warrior, there's no such qualification at all. On the side, Lianxing looked at her sister's thoughtful expression. I couldn't help but feel amused. In Lianxing's view, the words of the diary owner, obvious joke. As a result, but my sister took it seriously. I don't know if the owner of that diary would find it funny. After all, the diary owner at this time, whether it's with Lianxing herself or her sister, there is a considerable gap between them. Moreover, my sister is such a proud person, how could they agree to be married to their two maids? Unconsciously, I thought of this. At the next moment, Lianxing was suddenly startled. Pooh. What are you daydreaming about? What two maids and one husband? If my sister finds out, then it's okay. Lianxing's face turned red, but she cleverly turned her head away to prevent Inviting Moon from seeing her. Unfortunately, as soon as Inviting Moon turned her head, I couldn't help but feel a slight shudder when I saw Lianxing's rosy apple cheeks. Lianxing, who are you? However, it's okay to invite the moon without asking. When asked, Lianxing's already blushing cheeks, suddenly, it turned red like a monkey's butt, round and smooth. Unfortunately, no one can appreciate it. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 007, to practice this skill, one must first go to the palace. Exorcism sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Blackwood Cliff, Back Mountain. Different from the focus of many women, Dongfang Bubai's gaze is focused on that sentence, entering the third tier in a day. Are you a third-rate warrior? Dongfang Bubai's eyes were slightly stunned. Originally, she was only interested in diary content related to herself. And now, she suddenly became interested in the diary owner. If you can become a master in the future, our sect leader doesn't mind giving you a seat as a hall master. The Sun and Moon cult regards the leader as its leader. Under the leader of the sect, there is one saint named, and many elders. Under Elder Guo, there are the leaders of each hall. And becoming the leader of the hall, it can be said that he has become a core figure in the Sun-Moon divine sect. In the eyes of Dongfang Bubai, now she is willing to serve as a hall master for Su Bai, it's already on the face of the diary owner. Jiang family. Looking at the vulgar language in her diary, Jiang Yuyan couldn't help blushing with embarrassment. The owners of these diaries are really fickle. Yenner, don't look for such a person to be your husband in the future. Jiang Yuyan shook her head secretly in her heart. After shaking her head, she was immediately driven by the girl's curiosity. Jiang Yuyan continued to flip through her diary. However, these are all later words. When I become a strong player in the heavenly and human realm in the future, let's fulfill this promise again next. I will continue to start the spoilers. Where did you mention it last time? Oh, about Jiang Yuyan becoming the Empress, right. In the world of Xiaoya and Wuxia, Jiang Yuyan suffered all the insults in the Jiang mansion, being forced by the host mother to call a puppy, being beaten, scolded, or abused by servants. Finally, he was forced to face Jiang Bieha, cut off my mother's plaque with my own hands. To be honest, if it weren't for Jiang Biehe's cowardice, watching the people in Jiang Mansion bully Jiang Yuyan, but remain indifferent, and the ruthlessness of the Jiang family's mistress, Jiang Yuyan may not be blackened either, completely embarking on the path of a new generation of Empress and becoming the female demon head that everyone in the martial arts world calls to fight against. After all, I want all the wives present here. Can you watch helplessly as your deceased mother's tablet is cut off, yet remain indifferent? Of course, that was just the last straw that crushed the camel, but you want to know why Jiang Yuyan eventually became the Empress and is there a female demon head? Then we have to mention the last layer of the divine skill of wedding clothes, which is to transplant flowers and trees. Transplanting flowers and trees is the last layer of mental skill in the divine art of wedding clothes, but the transfer of flowers and trees has long been lost. Even Inviting Moon and Lianxing have not learned it, but in the end, she was learned by the first Empress Jiang Yuyan. Do you know why? Because the grafting wood is placed in one object, but in the end, the object fell into Jiang Yuyan's hands. Do you want to know what the object storing the grafting wood is? Forget it, young master. Let's just speak frankly. This transfer is placed in the Six Ren Divine Dice. What? You said you don't know where the Six Ren Divine Dice is? Hee. This requires all wives to guess. Leave a suspense. I will tell you again next time, young master. Next, let me tell you the story of Xiaolongnu and Invincible. There are 5 wonders in the Great Song dynasty, do you know? However, everyone was unaware that Wang Chongyang, one of the 5 wonders, was different from Lin Chaoying, the founder of the ancient tomb sect. Before their lives, they were originally a couple. Unfortunately, in the end, the two parted ways, and in the plot, Lin Chaoying also died of old age alone, and Xiaolongnu is a descendant left by Lin Chaoying in the ancient tomb sect. These will not be disclosed for now. Let's talk about why Little Dragon Girl was tarnished by Yin Jiping. 2 people play a crucial role. One is Yang Guo, and the other is Ouyang Feng, one of the 5 wonders of the Great Song dynasty, known as the Western Poison. If Grandma's son hadn't gone to save Xiao Yangguo, who had defected from the Chuanjin sect, Sun Po would not have been killed by Chuanjin Taoist priests either, and Little Dragon Girl wouldn't adopt little Yangguo either, so there won't be any follow-up. Xiaolongnu was acupointed by Ouyang Feng. The incident that was ultimately tarnished by Yin Jiping. If I were Xiaolongnu, next time I see Xiaoyang, I would definitely beat up this kid first. What? You ask Grandma's son, hey, where did that come from? Little Yangguo, I haven't heard of it before. Elderly people are deaf. It would be great if you didn't let her leave the ancient tomb. And Yin Jiping, the first young master to kill this grandson, even if we don't kill him, at least we have to let this grandson die. Pooh, you stinky Taoist. There's nothing wrong with liking women, but if you step on a horse to take advantage of someone's danger, it's your fault. Finally, let me tell you the story of the leader of the Sun and Moon Divine Sect, the Invincible East, Dongfang wife. You sound so good and pleasant, and you, who were originally a character in the world of Xiao Jianghu, unfortunately, he is a villain. The villain, you know, is the kind of character who has a bad ending and is killed by the protagonist. The protagonist of Xiao Jianghu world is Linghu Chong, and you were ultimately killed by him. As for how to kill it, let's talk about it when we have time. Also, let me mention something that Dongfang's wife is very concerned about. Do you know about the former eunuch Lin Yuan? To this eunuch has learned the anti-evil sword manual, which is the same as the sunflower treasure manual you have learned in the near future. The whereabouts of this evil warding sword manual will cause a bloody storm. This matter is related to the Lin family, Qingqing faction, Huashan faction, Songshan faction, Sun and Moon Divine Sect, etc. of Fuwei escort agency, will be involved in it, but of course you're okay, Dongfang wife, but there are still a few left. The Lin family will be wiped out, and the Qingqing sect will eventually be wiped out by Lin Ping, the left-behind son of the Lin family. Yu Buchuan of the Huashan sect will also be involved in it. Hee, you probably don't know what's written on the first page of the demon repeating sword manual. I'll be more generous, let me tell you directly, to practice this skill, one must first go to the palace. A book of exorcism sword manuals ultimately created 3 eunuchs, Lin Pingji, the posthumous son of the Lin family, Yu Buchuan, the head of Huashan, and Zhuo Lengshan, the head of Songshan, hehe, why bother? If I were the young master, I would definitely not choose to practice Lao Shizi's evil warding sword technique. After all, being a man is so joyful. I still want to go to Wushan Cloud and Rain with your wives, okay? Being a eunuch, even if I'm tired of work, I wouldn't do it this way. Che, whoever loves it should go with it. Tisk tsk, that concludes today's diary. Oh, by the way, I forgot the trailer for the next episode. Next time, I will tell you, the news of the Six Ren Divine Dice, and the news of the Demon Repeating Sword Manual, right? Wives, are you looking forward to it? Hey, call out to your husband to listen. Hi, unfortunately, this diary instance cannot be spoken, otherwise that would be great. Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet again next time. Meanwhile, around the world. All the owners of diary copies couldn't help but be surprised at the same time. This diary contains too much information, isn't it? Wait. No way. I need to take a small notebook and write it down first. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 008, Little Dragon Girl shocked. Grandmother and Wang Zhong. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhongnan Mountain is a tomb of the living dead. Xiaolongnu was eagerly looking at the diary copy. The next moment, the cold and aloof girl who was eating melons suddenly frowned. Wait. What did she see? Lin Chaoying. Isn't that the name of my grandparents? Xiaolongnu looked surprised and continued to watch with a hint of curiosity. However, the next moment, Xiaolongnu's beautiful eyes couldn't help but pause, and then gradually expanded. To the end. The girl's beautiful eyes were already the size of a copper bell. At the same time, in the ancient tomb, the trembling voice of a young girl came from. What? Grandmother has an affair with the neighboring Grandmaster Wang Chongyang. How could this be? The girl's eyes widened like copper bells, her face full of disbelief. You should know that their ancient tomb sect is not at odds with the stinky Taoist of the Chuanjian sect. This is a rule left over from my grandparents. But now, how could this Su Bai say so? Grandmother and Wang Chongyang have an affair. This result made the girl dumbfounded. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Subconsciously, Xiaolongnu is questioning. But soon, Little Dragon's eyes couldn't help but brighten. I remember there was a secret room in the ancient tomb, and neither my grandparents nor my master allowed it in. Maybe you can find the answer there. After having an idea, Xiaolongnu was surprised. Her eyes carried a hint of curiosity and a hint of strangeness. She wants to take a look at the owner of this diary, Su Bai. How else can you mess around and pester me? Dare to slander my grandmother, the founder of the ancient tomb sect. Look, I want you to look good. However, when Xiaolongnu saw the following content. This girl, who has never been from an ancient tomb and is not familiar with human relationships and worldly wisdom. Completely dumbfounded. What? Grandmother, is she dead? And also, was he killed by the stinky Taoist of the Chuanjian sect? Xiaolongnu's gaze became strange. I increasingly feel that the owner of this diary is talking nonsense. What the hell? If you want to make it up, you can also make it up a bit more real to deceive people. Are you an egg to be a dragon girl? I have never been able to leave the ancient tomb with Grandma's son, so how could I have had any friction with Taoist priests from the Chuanjian sect? Moreover, with Grandma's son's martial arts skills, I just can't beat those stinky Taoist priests. Can't you run yet? How could he have been killed by those stinky Taoist priests? However, Little Dragon Girl spoke with disbelief. But his gaze was fixed on the diary copy for an instant, not willing to miss a single detail. Then, Little Dragon Girl's eyes, which were originally like copper bells, suddenly became even more exaggerated. Xiaoyang Guo. Who is this? What? Ouyang Feng. Isn't that one of the already famous five wonders? Also, I was hit by Ouyang Feng's acupoint. That's why I was defiled by that stinky Taoist. Little dragon girl sometimes frowns and sometimes her eyes widen. The expressions are diverse and constantly changing. It makes people laugh uncontrollably. Even the slightly bulging chest, due to the content on the diary copy, and it becomes undulating up and down. Unfortunately, no one saw it. And at this moment, after gradually absorbing the content on the diary copy, Xiaolongnu also made a decision. Firstly, she needs to go to the secret chamber of the ancient tomb to verify what Su Bai said, is it all true? Secondly, if what the other party says is true, then she needs to prepare and see how to avoid that future scene from happening. For example, the child named Yang Guo was determined not to be seen by his grandmother. In law. Also, that stinky Taoist named Yin Jiping must be abolished by himself. But if everything the other party says is false, then she'll treat it as a story for entertainment. Just treat it as fun, it also saves the daily worries and worries. I am also happy. Thinking of this, Xiaolongnu stood up and went directly to the secret chamber of the ancient tomb. Jiangfu. Looking at the content in her diary, Jiang Yuyan couldn't help but blush. She didn't expect everything she had experienced at the Zhong family. Surprisingly, it was revealed in detail by the diary owner. The head mother of the Zhong family, the Zhonglu family. I did name myself Little Dog. It also drives all servants to call themselves this way. I thought these were all my personal matters, no one will know. But now, surprisingly, they have all been written by the diary owner. Is everything that Su Bai said true? Will I really become an empress in the future, the fearsome female demon in the martial arts world? Jiang Yuyan was surprised, but also curious. How did I, as a weak and kind woman, reach that final step? But in shock, Jiang Yuyan couldn't help but curl her lips. The owner of this diary is really despicable. Write down all your personal matters in a diary, isn't it? Seen by other diary instance owners. When Jiang Yuyan's face turned shy and angry, she continued to watch with curiosity. However, at this glance, Jiang Yuyan's entire eyes couldn't help but widen. What? Will I be forced by Jiang Lu to cut off my mother's spirit card? This. How could it be? Jiang Yuyan's delicate body suddenly shook. Although she said she didn't believe it, Jiang Yuyan's heart was already 7 or 8% convinced. Others don't know what kind of person Jiang Lu is. Can she still not know? According to Jiang Lu's jealous personality. This matter. 9 out of 10, it's true. The mother's spirit card is the only refuge in Jiang Yuyan's heart. If even the mother's spirit card cannot be preserved. According to the diary owner, it is also possible to blacken oneself. Jiang Yuyan pondered for a moment and continued to watch. She decided to read through all the contents of her diary before making any plans. When Jiang Yuyan saw the news of the Six Ren Divine Dice, she was stunned. Luren Divine Dice. As the owner of the diary said, this divine dice contains the unparalleled mind technique of the Moving Flowers Palace, which involves transferring flowers and connecting trees. But in the end, it was acquired by oneself. Is it because of this transfer of flowers and trees that I finally became the empress of that generation? If Su Bai were here, she would definitely admire Jiang Yuyan's reasoning ability. In the original work, he was as clever as Jiang Biehe, but he failed to unravel the secret of the Six Ren Divine Dice. However, in the end, she was untied by Jiang Yuyan, who didn't know martial arts. This is enough to demonstrate the other person's exceptional mental state. At this moment, when Jiang Yuyan finished reading all the contents of her diary, she also began to make a decision in her heart. Firstly, she needs to hide her mother's spirit card and not give Jiang Lu a chance. Secondly, she needs to find a way to find the news about the Six Ren Divine Dice. According to the diary owner, I am just a little maid. How could there be a chance to obtain such a stunning treasure as the Six Ren Divine Dice? This is simply a fantasy. So, in Jiang Yuyan's view, there is only one possibility. That's Jiang Biehe. Not to mention contact, if it weren't for the diary owner, it would be impossible to even know. But for the Jiangnan hero Jiang Biehe, it is not difficult to access such secrets. Therefore, Jiang Yuyan speculated. The Six Ren Divine Dice is very likely to be in the hands of Jiang Biehe. If Su Bai were here, she would surely admire Jiang Yuyan's inference. Because what she guessed was almost on par with the facts. Soon, Jiang Yuyan walked out of the kitchen. She decided to finish today's work first. Then, proceed slowly according to the plan. First, resolve the issue of the mother's spirit card. Slowly investigate the news about the Six Ren Divine Dice. It's best to start from Jiang Biehe. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 009, Ning Zhongze. My husband. Eventually became two. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Blackwood Cliff. Oh. The leader of our sect is actually a villain in that arrogant world of martial arts. Interesting. Dongfang Bubai lifted his lips slightly, revealing a playful smile. As the leader of the demon cult, the setting of the villain actually gives Dongfang Bubai a sense of identity. I find it very interesting. However, looking at it, Dongfang Bubai feels that something is wrong. Although I really enjoy being the villain. But I never thought about being killed, did I? Although villains usually end up like this. But Dongfang Bubai is still very unhappy. Humph. Can't the diary owner make the ending of this sect leader better? Can't our sect leader be both villainous and immortal? At this point, Dongfang Bubai still subconsciously felt that the content in this diary, it's just written by the diary owner. However, when Dongfang Bubai saw the Sunflower Encyclopedia, when it comes to the news of the Exorcism sword manual, that's dressed in red, on his cold face, he couldn't help but change his expression and become surprised. The demon repeating sword manual. How could he know about this? Dongfang Bubai is dumbfounded. In fact, she not only knows the relationship between the anti-evil sword manual and the Sunflower Treasure Classic. Behind my back, I have been searching for the whereabouts of the sword manual. Unfortunately, despite the large number of followers under the Sun Moon God sect. But still without a clue. But at this moment, listen to the master's tone in this diary. Does he know the whereabouts of the Exorcism sword manual? Dongfang Bubai's eyes lit up slightly, and a hint of excitement flashed through their watery eyes. Originally, she still doesn't believe what the diary owner said. But now, she believes. After all, if the owner of this diary is really just making up a story, there is no one who knows such secrets. In the eyes of Dongfang Bubai, a person who can understand the relationship between the anti-evil sword manual and the Sunflower Classic, absolutely not an ordinary person. Mo Fei, as the owner of this diary said. The other party is a traveler. And are you really just a fictional character in a novel? No. Not right. Perhaps all of this is real. Just. It is the world where the diary owner resides, being deceived. Only then do we feel like illusory characters. Is there a possibility that they are true? And is it true that we are waiting? Dongfang Bubai's mood took a long time to calm down. After calming down, Dongfang Bubai continued to look down. And when she saw the Lin family, Qingqing faction, Huashan faction, and Songshan faction, all of them were involved in the dispute over the Exorcism sword manual. A hint of horror flashed in her eyes. just for a mere sword manual. Surprisingly, it has attracted so many people to compete. But soon, Dongfang Bubai fell silent and laughed. She thought that she was also one of the people who were looting. At the end, Dongfang Bubai saw that sentence. To practice this skill, one must first go to the palace. Dongfang Bubai is completely unstoppable. Is this true? But why she is a woman who practiced the Sunflower Classic? But it's okay too. Is it possible that this is the prank of the sword master? Actually, you don't need to go to the palace to practice martial arts. So, perhaps this demon repeating sword manual is the most suitable for our sect leader to cultivate. Dongfang Bubai's beautiful eyes showed a hint of smile. After thinking for a moment, the leader of the Sun-Moon Divine sect ordered to go down and say, send someone to keep an eye on the Lin family of Fuwei escort agency for me. If there are any changes, notify our sect leader immediately. In Dongfang Bubai's view, if everything the diary owner says is true, the whereabouts of this exorcism sword manual, most likely, it's at the Lin family of Fuwei escort agency, right? At the same time, the Huashan faction. What? My husband eventually became a eunuch. This. How could it be? Wearing a tight long skirt, she looks very dignified and virtuous, with willow eyebrows on end. His expression was also filled with an incredible expression. And this beautiful woman is the wife of Yu Buchuan, and Ning Zhong is also. At this point, looking at the content popping up on the Ning Zhong's dungeon, in the Su Bai diary in hand, Ning Zhong was confused. At first, when this diary copy appeared, she hasn't taken it seriously yet. Today, I casually flipped through it, but couldn't help but look surprised. Surprisingly, such an unexpected shock occurred. Yes, it's not a surprise. But it's a shock. After all, who sees their well-behaved husband suddenly being said to become a eunuch? There will always be a moment of shock, right? And obviously, Ning Zhong is in this mood. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Ning Zhong murmured with a skeptical expression on his face. She instinctively wants to reject the content in her diary. Through these days, Ning Zhongze also discovered the magic of diary copies. Only oneself, the owner of the diary copy, can see it, and others cannot see it at all. In addition, it involves burning with fire, smashing external objects, and breaking internal forces. Ning Zhongze has tried all the possible methods. As a result, all copies of this diary are still intact. Even if she throws away her diary copy, it will reappear in sight the next day. No way. Whether it's true or false, I have to personally investigate. If it's fake, then forget it. If it's true, I must never let my husband embark on such a dangerous path. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 010, Ning Zhongze's probing. Oh no, my husband. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Also from the Huashan sect, Yu Lingshan's dormitory. The girl with blinking eyes was curiously browsing through a diary book. It's like reading a story. The girl sometimes smiled and sometimes showed suspicion. And the girl reading the diary is the miss of the Huashan sect. Yu Lingshan is also. Today, Yu Lingshan is wearing a plain dress, with a sweet smile outlined at the corner of her mouth. It is during the prime of youth. Originally, Yu Lingshan was also the owner of the diary copy. However, because there is currently no mention of anything related to her in the diary, she doesn't have much interest either. Most of the time, I read it as a story. Jiang Yuyan is quite pitiful. This Yin Jiping is too much. What a despicable thing to do. Moreover, he is still a Taoist, it's really disgusting. Yu Lingshan commented while watching. However, the next moment. Yu Lingshan's eyes just froze and she froze. Because Yu Lingshan suddenly saw it in the diary copy. She prominently mentioned her favorite master brother, Linghu Chong. What? Is Brother Chong actually the protagonist of the world of Xiaoao Jianghu? He, then naturally Yu Lingshan is the female lead. Upon seeing this, Yu Lingshan instinctively thought to herself. Wow, Brother Chong is so amazing. Unexpectedly, he ultimately killed the leader of the demon cult, Dongfang Bubai. When Yu Lingshan saw Dongfang Bubai die in the hands of Linghu Chong, she was delighted. However, the next moment, the joyful expression on the girl's face, just because I saw the three characters Yu Buchuan, I became stiff. The technique of warding off evil swords. And Dad. Yu Lingshan was greatly surprised and instinctively felt a sense of unease in her heart. Sure enough. Soon, Yu Lingshan saw the content behind the diary. When I saw the diary owner say, when the head of Mount Hua, Yu Buchuan, became a eunuch. Yu Lingshan immediately showed the same expression as Ning Zhongze. She was confused. No, that's impossible. Like Ning Zhongze, Yu Lingshan instinctively refutes and questions. In Yu Lingshan's heart, father is the best father. Her Yu Lingshan never allowed anyone to slander her father. The magic of the diary copy made Yu Lingshan unable to resist a hint of doubt. What if what this diary copy says is true? When the time comes, what will I and my mother do? No. It's nothing to me. Mainly my mother. My mother has just reached 40, Dad, how could he be like this, leave your mother behind? Thinking of this, Yu Lingshan couldn't help but flash a hint of worry in her eyes. No, she must stop this from happening. With such thoughts, Yu Lingshan walked out of the room directly. She plans to ask her mother for clarification first. Then, make plans again. Ning's Hong's room. Mother, are you there? Yu Lingshan lightly tapped on the door. Upon hearing this, Ning Zhong was taken aback. Why did Shaner come? After Yu Lingshan entered the room, the girl's face hesitated. At this moment, Ning Zhong suddenly said. Shaner, do you also have that diary copy? Upon hearing this, Yu Lingshan was shocked. Mother, do you? Do you also have it? Ning Zhong nodded. The two of them exchanged a glance, both seeing the shock in each other's eyes. Upon seeing this, Yu Lingshan came straight to the point and said. Mother, that Su Bai actually said that my father has become a eunuch, which really angers me. However, Ning Zhong just looked serious and shook his head. Mother doesn't think so. Yu Lingshan's expression was surprised. Mom, are you saying that what the diary owner said is true? In Yu Lingshan's eyes, her mother was exceptionally clever. Originally, she thought her mother would question what the diary owner said. As a result, I received such an answer. It's shocking. Ning Zhongze chuckled lightly and said. Is it true or false? If we meet your father with our mother, we can know. Say it. A woman with a well-maintained figure, twisting his waist, he walked towards the back mountain. Yu Lingshan was stunned for a moment. Soon, he also followed his mother. Back mountain. Yu Buchuan is practicing swordsmanship. At this moment, two figures suddenly appeared. Upon seeing the visitor, Yu Buchuan's expression froze. Madam, and Shaner, why did you come? Ning Zhongze was about to speak up and tell the story of the anti-evil sword manual. However, at this moment. This person is a middle-aged and exceptionally beautiful woman, but suddenly his voice became hoarse. She was so speechless. At the same time, the beautiful woman felt a palpitations in a daze. It seems that if she insists on telling the truth, in the next moment, he will immediately suffocate and die an untimely death. Yu Lingshan's forehead was covered in sweat on the side. Obviously, the same applies. Seeing this, both of them were greatly shocked in their eyes. I didn't expect the owner of this diary to have such patience. But didn't the other party say in their diary that they were just a third-rate expert? At this point, seeing the two of them not speaking, Yu Buchuan suddenly said, "Shaner, pack your luggage and follow your father down the mountain." Upon hearing this, Yu Lingshan was shocked. "Where are we going?" Without much thought, Yu Buchuan smiled and said, "Fuzhou." Coincidentally, the Qingqing sect is also there. Our father and daughter can take this opportunity to gather intelligence. However, upon hearing these words, Yu Lingshan fell silent. Ning Zhong remained equally silent. Because the Fuwei escort agency is also located in Fuzhou. And according to the diary owner, that exorcism sword manual is very likely, it's at the Lin family. Yu Buchuan turned around and prepared to go back to his room to pack his luggage and go down the mountain. At this moment, Ning Zhong suddenly said, "Have you ever heard of the demon repeating sword manual, husband?" Yu Buchuan's body suddenly froze, but soon, he regained his composure and said with a smile on his face, "What kind of exorcism sword manual? I think madam is a bit confused today." After speaking, Yu Buchuan turned around and left. Only two people, Ning Zhongze and Yu Lingshan, stood still in a daze. After a long time, Yu Lingshan's face turned grim and she said, "Mother, why deny it when father knows it clearly?" Ning Zhongze's face changed and he suddenly angrily rebuked. "Shaner, shut up, don't talk nonsense in the future. Follow me back to your room." Yu Lingshan glanced around and saw that there were many people around. I also knew my mother's intention. The two of them didn't say anything and went directly to Yu Lingshan's room. In the room, Yu Lingshan's face turned pale with a hint of tears as she said, "Mom, what should we do now?" Just now, Yu Buchuan's action, although not explicitly stated, but both of them have concluded that, Yu Buchuan went down the mountain this time for the Lin family's exorcism sword manual. If it really allows Dad to obtain the exorcism sword manual. According to the diary owner, to practice this skill, one must first go to the palace. After that, won't Yu Lingshan lose her father? If that's the case, then in the future, could it be that I want to change my name to Daddy Mother? And at the thought of this disgusting scene, Yu Lingshan couldn't help but tremble all over. "I feel nauseous." On the side, Ning Zhong's expression was equally solemn. "At least, she doesn't want it to happen in the future. Call your husband sisters." Thinking of this, Ning Zhong's face turned heavy and he said, "Shaner, please follow your father down the mountain first. You must take good care of your father. Don't let him do that embarrassing thing." Yes. In Ning Zhong's view, if Yu Buchuan were really in his own palace, that's losing the entire Huashan sect. This person, the Huashan sect, cannot afford to lose it. She would rather be in the middle. I can't afford to throw it away either. At this moment, Yu Lingshan said curiously, "What about your mother?" Ning Zhongze chuckled lightly and said, "Silly girl, you're in the bright, for your mother in the dark. Let's work together and add the diary owner's diary. I don't believe it, I can't stop your father from going to the palace." Upon hearing this, Yu Lingshan was momentarily taken aback and then burst into laughter, saying, "Mother, you are still smart." Excited, Yu Lingshan threw herself into the arms of the beautiful woman. Although I have reached middle age, but Yu Lingshan could still clearly feel it. My mother's place is bulging, it's much bigger than myself. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.